Yeah, and these are people that grew up, as I did, like in church. So you get a lot of your education, your music education in church. So I understand the harmonies, the melody, and all of that stuff. And these women, I mean, the amount of work that they did amongst all of them, like for instance, Claudia Lanier, actually dated David Bowie for a while, and she was the inspiration for Lady Grinning Soul. Then you have Vega, who has worked with Elton John and Leon Russell, even did that backups on that Union album that they did together. And there's Mary Clayton, of course, who did that infamous "Gimme Shelter," and because of that, she did the "Feeling All Right" with Joe Cocker. She did "Sweet Home Alabama" with Leonard Skinner. I mean, it just goes on. And then, of course, Darlene Love, who was, I've interviewed Denny Tedesco, the Wrecking Crew film, so she was part of that story too with the Crystals, and she was even in the Blossoms, which I talked to Don Randy about, the keyboard player, and of course, for years she was on the Phil Spector Christmas album. She did the David Letterman show every Christmas. I mean, just so many interesting stories and interesting people, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, but at the same time invisible. I mean,
yes, I know.
This is the thing that, and we were talking about earlier about hearing something different in something you know. And when I first started thinking about this film, I mean, I think I literally sat down that night and said, okay, well, let me just think of songs with great backup vocals.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time coming up with 5 or 10. Because your brain does not think of them that way.
Exactly.
And nobody ever thinks about it that way. And so I went through my record collection. I had the radio on. I mean, for the couple of years I was making the film, I was keeping a running list. I'd hear a song on the radio and go, oh my God, of course that song has great backup vocals. But it's hard to think of those things unprompted. And but what it does is retrain your ear. I mean, now I always hear backup vocals,